Hi, this is Morley and this is the M-Wire with another La Palma update for November 23rd, 2021. I'm going to get into the earthquakes as I usually do, as well as Volcano Discovery's report. And when I get into Volcano Discovery's report, you're going to see how they're still playing both sides of the fence regarding the eruption of La Cumbre Vieja. Be sure to stick around for that. So if we take a look at the volcano here, folks, you can see that there's just white smoke billowing off of it. So La Cumbre Vieja still remains quite active. It doesn't seem to be slowing down any. Like I say, there's periods of greater activity and periods of lesser activity. But some pundits are saying that this eruption is coming to an end. As I said, wait for Volcano Discovery's report, folks, as of Monday, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here. Now, as you can see, we still have quite a bit of earthquake activity here. It's still, quite numerous as far as earthquakes go. As far as I can see here, there have been 3 4.0 or greater earthquakes in the last 24 hours. So this still remains a very active volcano by any measurement you want to lend to it. Now, in the last couple of days, I've released videos showing the lava reaching the ocean, creating the new delta, such as this one here. And this smoke is releasing toxic gases, and to the point where 3,000 people are now on lockdown as a result of it. Now, I realize 3,000 people is a relatively small percentage compared to the 85,000 people that live on the island, but nonetheless, the fact that 3,000 people need to be on lockdown because of the noxious gases produced by this new delta is quite alarming in my humble opinion. Let me share with you this short article on that very subject. Around 3,000 people were ordered to remain indoors on the Spanish island of La Palma on Monday as lava from an erupting volcano reached the sea, risking the release of toxic gas. The Canary Islands Volcanic Emergency Plan, PELVOCA, ordered the confinement of residents of coastal towns and villages near where the lava cascaded into the sea, sending large plumes of white smoke into the air, local emergencies service on Twitter. The order was given due to the possible release of gases that are harmful to health, it added. The order affects around 3,000 people on the island, Miguel Angel Morquende, technical director of PELVOCA, told a news conference. This is the third time that a lava flow has reached the Atlantic Ocean since Cumbre Vieja volcano in the south of the island erupted on September 19th, covering large areas with ash. All flights to and from La Palma's airport were cancelled on Monday because of the ash, the third straight day the air travel has been disrupted. And for the first time since the eruption started, local authorities advised residents of La Palma's capital, Santa Cruz de La Palma in the east, to use high-filtration FFP2 face masks to protect themselves from emissions of dioxide and sulfur. Most of the island, which is home to around 85,000 people, is so far unaffected by the eruption. But parts of the western side where lava flows have slowly made their way to the sea face an uncertain future. The molten rock has covered 1,065 hectares, 2,630 acres, and destroyed nearly 1,500 buildings, according to Copernicus, the European Union's satellite monitoring service. Lava has destroyed schools, churches, health centers, and irrigation infrastructure for the island's banana plantations, a key source of jobs, as well as hundreds of homes. Provisional damage was estimated on Friday at nearly 900 million euros, 1 billion according to the regional government. The island of La Palma, part of the Canary Islands archipelago off northwestern Africa, is experiencing its third eruption in a century, with previous ones in 1949 and 1971. So as you can see, folks, these noxious gases are starting to affect people on the island. I'm sure they very begrudgingly put out that report of having to lock down 3,000 people. And they're trying to gloss it over by saying, well, the island is populated by 85,000 people, so that's not really that many in the grand scheme of things. That's what they're trying to essentially tell you here. but 3,000 people being locked down as the result of noxious sulfur gases, in my opinion, that's a pretty serious situation. As I've said numerous times before, they are protecting the almighty tourism dollar at any and all costs. Volcano tourism is big business, folks. Most people in their life haven't seen an erupting volcano, so people are actually coming to the island from far and wide to do just that, to see an erupting volcano. And trust me, the Spanish government does not want to do anything to deter that, because La Palma is obviously economically decimated, if you will, as a result of the information I just gave you. So they are essentially trying to recoup whatever losses they've had through tourism, and most specifically volcano tourism. Now I'm going to get into Volcano Discovery's most recent report, but note the headline, folks. Eruptive activity remains spectacular but continues decreasing trend. This is the same Volcano Discovery that said that they don't know when the eruption's going to end. So, is it decreasing, really? Or is that just them wanting to protect the tourism dollar of La Palma? You have to wonder, because now take a look at this graph here. Now, I see what they're trying to convey here, like since the 21st of the month, as of a couple of days ago, there is a decrease in activity, but look at right at the end there for the 23rd, there's a big spike. Folks, this is the time that you refer to that graph that I showed you of all the earthquake activity on La Palma since September 19th that I showed you. Many ups and downs in that. Like I say, there's a decrease in activity, an increase in activity. We experienced a decrease, and now there's a big spike. So them saying decreasing, I don't think is an accurate statement. That's just my opinion, but I want to know yours in the comments. Is this volcano actually decreasing? Have we seen enough evidence for it to decrease? I personally don't think so. Despite the spectacular display of lava flows traveling and reaching the sea again today, the overall tendency of the eruption remains on a very slow, gradual decreasing trajectory. At the vents, the activity has been relatively calm last evening, and during the night, as observers reported not hearing much and seeing much lava being ejected. However, it is likely increased again in the morning, as explosive activity remains significant during phases when it creates ash plumes that rise up to 10,000 feet, 300 meters, altitude and drift towards the east where the airport is located, forced to stop its operations. So they essentially contradicted themselves in the same almost paragraph. It's decreasing, but it's increasing. Well, which is it, Volcano Discovery? Please make up your mind and let us know when you do. All the time, lava effusion continues, but the actively flowing lava flows are proving. Besides the spectacular lava flow feeding the new delta along the partially on top of the flow labeled number 7, at least 3 other lava tube fed flows remain active as well, number 1, 2, and 9, which more or less have merged into one large lobe. However, it is likely that the overall flow rate is less than some weeks ago. If this correlates with the volcanic tremor that continues to be at low levels, albeit short-lived spikes, and follows the general decreasing trend, gas emissions, although still high, have been dropping over the past days to around 1,900 to 1,300 tons per day of SO2, while the CO2 emissions remain similar in the past days at 2,000 to 2,300 tons per day. Similarly, ground deformation has returned to the state before the most recent inflation pulse, and associated magma surge during the November 17th to 19th, reverting or resetting all of the vertical and most of the horizontal ground displacements that had manifested themselves during the period. The Institute, IGN, reported, in other words, the additional magma that caused it by entering the shallow plumbing system under the vent area should have come out by now. Well, that's speculation. I mean, it's possible that it came out, but it's not definitive by any means. I mean, we have the theory that there's a big magma chamber feeding a submagma chamber, and that's why the lava comes out sporadically and as voluminous as it has. Now, in its defense, we haven't exactly seen any new vents forming and start erupting either as of recently, so that, supports what they're saying. But at the same time, folks, there's just too much going on with this volcano to say that it's decreasing definitively. I reject that wholesale. Earthquakes remain at similar numbers and intensity as in the past days. During the last 24-hour reporting window, IGN has detected 76 earthquakes, with most of them being in the deep layer below 30 kilometers depth. 6 quakes were felt on the island today. The largest was a magnitude 4.8 quake this morning at 8:09 a.m. Now, one has to wonder exactly how much this quake has been downgraded. It was probably in all likelihood over 5, but of course they don't want to cause a panic, so it's a 4.8 for all intents and purposes. Latest data on lava flow damage. According to the latest official data, as of this afternoon, the lava flows have covered an area of 1,060 hectares, which does not yet include the size of the new sea delta that was formed today and continues to grow. In total, 1,481 buildings have been destroyed or damaged, of which 1,193 were for residential use, 159 agricultural, 67 industrial, 34 for leisure and hospitality, 13 for public use, and 15 for other uses. Curfew imposed for some coastal areas. Airport closed. Due to the generation of the acid stream in the sea entry of the lava and the hazards these pose to people as well as animals and plants, the government imposed a curfew neighboring coastal regions. The reaction of the salt water with the magma produces poisonous gases mixed into the stream, in particular hydrochloric acid. The air quality in the Ariane Valley has been poor on many days throughout the eruption, often exceeding health limits of pollution by gases and fine particles. Unfortunately, the wind is blowing the ash plume from the volcano to the eastern side of the island at the moment, disabling the airport, which remains closed. The situation is likely to remain so for the next days as well. So all this is happening on La Palma, and they're saying that it's decreasing, folks. I'm sorry, but I do not agree with that whatsoever. But I want to know what you think in the comments below. This is not decreasing, in my opinion. It's still going. Like I say, there's periods of greater activity, periods of lesser activity. But overall, this volcano is still active, it's still erupting, and we watch and wait as to what it does, as opposed to simply concluding that this eruption is on its way out and it's coming to an end. I don't see that. Regardless, you need to have a plan of action if something goes seriously sideways with this volcano. This is a very fluid situation. Things could go very bad very quickly. Not to say they will, but like I say, we're dealing with an erupting volcano here. We cannot predict what it is or isn't going to do. You need to have a plan of action. You need to have a full tank of gas. You need to have a bug out bag. And you need to have a place to go if something goes seriously awry on La Palma. I say this every video, and I'm going to keep saying it. A little due diligence on your part can go a very long way, and I don't think that it's bad to err on the side of caution at all. That's the most sound advice anyone's going to give you today. But thank you so much for coming along with me to my update. Please remember to like, to comment, to share, and of course to subscribe if you haven't already. Until the next update, God bless.